Okay, so it is Tuesday afternoon. I feel like there's quite a lot of noise outside that you can potentially hear. So apologies if there is. It is 4:10. I am now about to do my SBD day. I'm feeling good. So weekend was a busy one. Was handling all day on Sunday. All my clients had amazing days. So I am very, very happy with how the weekend went. My hotel Saturday night. So I wouldn't normally get a hotel when I'm handling within this region because most comps are within like 2 hours, and I'm quite happy having an early morning and just a long day of feeling a bit more tired, because obviously once you're in the thick of handling you don't really notice it anyway. But the weigh-in for the men was 7 a.m, which I don't always have to be there for my clients to weigh in, but this was my client's first ever comp, and I wasn't familiar with the venue, they obviously weren't, and I like to try and be there for weigh-ins where I can, just so that I'm there if they need anything, and just also make sure I'm there, like in case there's traffic or car accidents or anything on the way, I can make sure I'm there. So because it was a 7 a.m. weigh-in and it was a 2-hour drive, I was like, I'm going to have to get a hotel on the Saturday night. So there was a hotel literally around the corner. It was like above a pub. It was 55 quid for the night. The nearest hotel after that was about a 25-minute drive away. It was like over 100 quid for the night. I was like, do you know what? I'll just go for this hotel. Like, I'm not that fussy. As long as there is a bed, a private bathroom, I'm fine. But because it was above a pub, I did see that there was a thing on there that said that sometimes there is live music until 1 a.m. on a Friday and Saturday. And my boyfriend was like, why don't you just check if there's a band playing, like at least then you'll know. Because I had it in my head that if it was above a pub, it was gonna be noisy regardless, right? So I'll just suck it up. Like once I'm asleep, I'm asleep. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. So I didn't bother looking and I just booked it because I also knew I wasn't gonna be paying double that for a hotel. Like I'm cheap, I don't like to spend loads of money. So I booked the hotel, I got there just before 8, like 7:45. And to be fair, the room was lovely, like, but I was on the floor literally just above the pub. Like I was directly above the bar. Not even just the bar, I was directly above where the bands play. Can't remember words out. So it was like 20 to 9, and all of a sudden the floor of my room is like shaking a little bit, and it just gets a bit louder. The windows are slightly open at this point. The hottest hotel room I've ever been in, by the way. Like it wasn't that warm that day, like it was like 17 degrees, but it wasn't boiling hot. Yeah, so the floor started shaking a little bit, so I was like, please tell me this is just like one song they've played really loudly or like whatever. Obviously it wasn't, so I looked up what bands were playing or if there was a band playing, and there was indeed a band playing from 9 until 11:30, which to be fair, I did kind of say to myself, yes, it's going to be annoying. I forgot to bring any headphones with me. And I was like, well, to be honest, if I don't fall asleep until 11:30, that's not the end of the world because I'll still get over 6 hours sleep. I didn't have to get up until 6 a.m. So I'm glad I stayed there, but it was just very, very noisy. But if I did kind of doze off while the band was playing, but then I'd hear songs that I knew and it would like wake me up and I'd pay attention. But it was fine. Got through. Clients had a fantastic day. Just maybe next time I'll actually splurge on a slightly more expensive hotel. So fast forward to the comp day, food obviously wasn't great. I ended up, because I helped out in the morning, I wasn't actually a volunteer, but I knew the meet host and none of the platform crew were there early, like they got there just before they had to start, which is obviously fine and fair enough, they'd already agreed that, but there was no one there to help with things like rack height and just generally to answer questions and stuff, which normally I'll just kind of help out where I can anyway at meets. So I ended up doing everyone's rack heights and just helping with like queries and stuff while the meet host was organising all the screens and everything, and before kind of anyone else got there. So he put me on the free food list because his sister was running the catering there. So he was like, no, you can have like 2 free meals today. Like all volunteers that were there all day got 2 free meals. And I was like, you don't have to do that, like I've bought snacks, I'll be fine kind of thing. But then actually it got to like 12 o'clock and I realised I'm not gonna have time to eat properly if I don't eat soon, because my client finished deadlifting. I had maybe 20 minutes before my next 2 clients had to then warm up for squats. So, and obviously I want to say bye to the client that had just finished and yeah, just kind of make sure my lifters were okay. So I ended up ordering some food and I got like a southern fried chicken burger and chips from this thing. Luckily they weren't massive portions, but I needed something, and actually the second I started eating I was like, I am so hungry, and I think if I hadn't have had that meal I would have absolutely crumbled and felt so rough for the rest of the day. And then one of my other lifters, who is also a good friend, and a couple of other friends went for a KFC before driving home. So food on Sunday was absolutely over, and my body weight naturally has shot up to the low 87s yesterday and today, but I would expect it to be back to normal pretty much by tomorrow. I checked in with Jane Monday as well, and obviously she completely understood, and she's just dropped my carbs slightly on my training days by 20 grams, and that's literally it, just to make sure, because comp is less than 3 weeks away now, that we are obviously where we need to be, but we're fine. Like, there's no stress. Body weight will literally come back down, I would imagine, tomorrow. It normally lasts a couple of days of retention, and I can also feel that I'm retaining. Like, my face feels a lot more bloated and like blown up than normal, especially first thing in the morning when I first get up. So that is the latest updates. Now about to crack on with the I really enjoyed doing SBD the last couple of times, so I'm really looking forward to this session. Weights are still pretty comfortable, but I'm going to go in with intention and make sure they move okay. 7s last week were difficult on squat because I'm not used to 7s anymore, but I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm just going to crack on, get it done. It's nothing crazy heavy. Just need to go in and get it done. Gonna stop talking, gonna just crack on. Okay, so squats are done. I've set myself a timer, well, a stopwatch. I'm going to do 10 minutes between squats and bench. I've just set up the bench in that 10-minute break. Well, I've just got to roll the bench back in, but basically I've been setting up so that I can start after 10 minutes. I'm going to try and give myself an actual breather between the two, just because it is obviously a long session, and as you can probably tell, it's very warm today. I've actually got the shutter open. I am sipping on, so I'm trying to make a conscious effort to be better with my nutrition intra-workout as well, because I've gotten better with pre-workout. Post-workout I've also gotten better, but I never really have anything intra. And now that I'm doing a longer SBD day, and obviously deadlifts are something that haven't been going to plan for a while, I need to make sure I prioritise that as well. So I ordered myself some cyclic dextrin that arrived today, but it didn't arrive in time for this session. But in here I've got electrolytes and my creatine. Normally I just have my creatine first thing in the morning so that I remember to have it. I think on training days I'm going to try and have it, well, I want to have it in my pre-workout drink, but for today I didn't do that. Although I did drink a lot of this before I started, to be fair. But basically I want to try and have some intra-workout carbs and stuff from now on, just in a drink. I'll have 2 drinks probably, just so if it's a longer session I can kind of have both. But anyway, squats felt really good. 7s felt considerably easier than last week. Obviously the weight was quite a bit heavier than last week, at least on my top set. Back offs were still super light, but I feel like I'm conditioning to them quite quickly. So yeah, nothing to really say. They move fine. Depth is feeling solid now that I'm a little bit narrower again, and I actually like having the rack back in the middle. We literally moved just before I started. I say we, I got my boyfriend too. But I feel like I can see things better from the front angle. It's not very easy to film from the side in this garage because it's obviously not very wide. So yeah, having the camera straight in front where the centre ref would be, like I can see that my depth was kind of undeniable on those, which I don't think last week it was, or at least from the angle I filmed from, it didn't seem like it was. But my depth is definitely better this week than it was last week, because now that I'm a little bit narrower, it just feels more natural hitting the hole. So happy, nothing to really say. Gonna just actually relax for this 10-minute break, then start benching. I've got triples, 2 count, I think, 2 count triples, last and 7s, I think, and then deadlifts. Oh yeah, you know what I want. Revolves around you, greedy and a bit needy. Okay, so I've just finished benching. Now having a set up for deadlifts. Now I'm gonna have another 10-minute rest, just fill my drink up and stuff as well before I start deadlifting. So one thing that's really important when you're close to comp is to look at the number of people in your flight, because it can help you gauge roughly what your rest times are gonna be. Now, if you train in a gym, typically you're probably gonna have longer rest breaks than what you would if you train alone at home anyway. Like, I've been timing my rest breaks and telling myself I have to have a minimum of 2 minutes, but ideally like 3, 4 as a minimum. And like, because it's a light week, I kind of just want to crack on and get done. And I think my average rest times on bench was literally like 2.5. And that includes putting my wraps back on. So not ideal, because I am in a 14-woman flight. So the thing is, with comp day, like obviously the time between your lifts will go relatively quickly. I mean, like you won't feel like you're resting for roughly 14 minutes. But it's a minute per lifter, in case that wasn't clear. Sorry, I'm very like not with it. Anyway, so you kind of want to get used to having similar rest breaks to what you're going to have in comp. As someone that trains alone at home, and I like to train quickly and just kind of crack on, get done, head down, especially like I've started putting my phone, well, I've turned the internet off of my phone and putting it on Do Not Disturb while I train as well. My rest breaks are always very short. And then on comp day, I generally, by my 3rd attempt, feel a bit flagged and not great. So I need to really be conscious now for this week and next week, and then my one session of the week after, to just allow myself more rest, like more like 6-7 minutes before my top sets, and like ideally between back off sets too, just to get used to it. So that is one thing I'm trying to implement, which is why I'm having these rest breaks as well between each actual lift. Like I could easily have gone straight from squats to bench with no rest in between, and then straight from bench to deadlifts, but that wouldn't be very clever. Also, I'm feeling really strong today, so I think obviously focusing on my nutrition and hydration a bit more will have obviously helped with that. But bench felt super, super comfortable. My first set, which is the one that I filmed, I literally jumped straight from 70 to 95, which I don't advise. Don't do that, and like just don't do that. I nearly did a warm up in between, but I was like, oh no, it's fine, I'll be all right. And the first set was definitely the worst set, just because obviously like I wasn't primed for the load. But then the next 3 sets were super comfortable. And then the last 7 to 8 were like an empty bar, so that was really fun. And I also think elbow depth looks absolutely fine. Filming from center angle as well on my phone. I filmed from a slightly lower angle on my phone, just so it was more accurate. And they definitely look in, so I'm pretty happy. I've definitely been flaring a little bit more the last few weeks to try and obviously make sure I'm hitting elbow depth, which if I flare for too long in a row, like too many weeks in a row, I do get a bit of shoulder pain. So the plan is basically going to be to flare a little bit more leading into this comp and All England's, even though I still haven't 100% decided I'm doing it, I think I will. But that's a conversation for another time. Yeah, I'm going to flare into All England's, and then I'll just kind of do what feels a bit more natural and stuff. But hopefully my shoulders are strong enough and healthy enough now that it shouldn't be a problem, especially now the weather's nicer as well. So we'll just see. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I've still got 5.5 minutes before I start deadlifting, and then we'll see how it goes. But I'm feeling pretty good. Deadlift last week felt great, so I'm just going to try and continue with that momentum. I beg and bribe to get to you, but how much can I pay? Jump on the direct express, let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby, get out tonight. Jump on the direct express, let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby, get out tonight. Oh, get out tonight. Okay, so it is Saturday evening. My camera has hardly any battery because once again I forgot to charge it. It is 7 p.m. I'm now about to do my primary squat day and my priming bench. So the session doesn't take me too long. Once I kind of get warmed up and cracking on, I can get my squats done in about 45 minutes. I am trying to take longer rest breaks just to prep me for comp day, so it might take me a little bit longer. And then bench, I literally can just work out in like 10 minutes. So that's fine, quick and easy session. And then I'm literally just go in, have some food and just chill out. I am sipping on my electrolytes, cyclodextrin, and I've also got my creatine mixed in here as well. The thing I slacked on most of my nutrition before starting with Jane is saving carbs for my pre-workout meal when I was training later in the day, because I'd be hungrier during the daytime, and I'm someone that likes to front load my calories. Like I like to eat the majority of my food in like the first few hours of waking up, because if I fill myself up enough at the start of the day, I'm then not hungry later in the day. Like my appetite is always highest in the morning. And obviously I try and make the best food choices in terms of like satiety and stuff, and making sure I'm as full as possible as early on in the day as possible. I always try and hit like a decent amount of protein in the mornings, decent amount of fibre. And yeah, just kind of get myself set up for success in the day. And obviously I've been trying to then save more carbs for my pre-workout. Like I'd always have like at least an apple, but the amount of times that's all I have, which is like, it's like 15 grams of carbs, maybe 20 at most. Like it's not, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like 15 grams of carbs. I need a lot more than that for a pre-workout meal. Like I'm an 86 kilo woman. I need more than just 15, 20 grams of carbs before my workouts. Come on, baby, you know what I want. Okay, so my camera died yesterday during my session, so I literally filmed my back off squats on my phone, and then I didn't bother filming my priming bench because it was doubles at 90, very easy, very quick. I did have a niggly shoulder yesterday. I don't think I actually spoke about it before the session. I think it's just from where I've been painting skirting boards and stuff and just been at like slightly awkward angles over the last few days. So my shoulders didn't feel great, which meant underneath the bar on squats, the bar didn't feel particularly stable, which just meant that things felt a bit sloppy. But kind of during the session, I was a bit annoyed. Like I thought my 175 single was way slower than it should have been. I thought my back off fives were just a lot harder than they should have been. And then my bench, although like it was fine, it was quick, it was easy. It wasn't as easy as 90 should be. But actually looking back at it after, I was like, well, to be honest, the only thing that was really difficult was dealing with the pain and the discomfort. Like it was more discomfort than pain. Like it wasn't terrible. And it was more just that things just didn't feel great. And it was hard to get myself in a solid position, but actual like bar speed and everything in the moment felt fine. There was no doubt or anything in the moment. And then like with bench, it was just that my shoulder felt uncomfortable, which just made it feel obviously a little bit worse than it should have. But actually again, bar speed, not a problem. So yesterday's session, I'm not particularly happy with, but I'm also not unhappy. Like it was just my shoulder. And I've literally said to myself, any like practical jobs I've got on my to-do list, get done this weekend, get done this bank holiday weekend. Like I've spent all of today like sanding down and sorting out all the skirting and stuff along the stairs that just needs to be like, I don't even know, like it's just terrible. And then like I'm now at the point where I'm about to just finish, I think I've got to like use the cork gun, which I've never used before, so that's gonna be interesting. And then I've got to paint it all tomorrow. That might not be finished after tomorrow. It probably won't because it'll need a good few layers or a good few coats. But either way, basically after this bank holiday weekend, I am resting, prioritizing comp. I've got 2 back-to-back comps. Like I am focusing on that. I'm going to prioritize actual rest rather than worrying about like jobs I've got to do around the house. But I am setting myself up so that like big jobs are pretty much, I say big jobs, little jobs that I've got lots to do are done this weekend, and then I can prioritize rest until comp. And then don't get me wrong, I'm sure the first few weeks after this first comp, I'll probably do the same and get some more jobs done. But then again, when I'm 3-4 weeks out, focus will be on that. But I am 2 weeks out today. Body weight was 86 on the dot today. And I do think we're going to see another drop tomorrow. My body is definitely feeling a bit more back to itself. I'm not feeling quite as heavy today. Steps have also been pretty high the last few days just because I've been doing so much around the house. I've just been like moving constantly all day. Like I've literally not stopped today and it is now 6:20. I've also done a decent amount of meal prep today. I've got a little bit more I'm going to do later. I'm just going to make like a 1-pan lasagna thing for dinner when we get back from the gym. So after this session of bench, I've got to go do my accessory day. And then I'm going to come home, make that food. I think my boyfriend's going to walk Zuko for his last walk of the day. Oh my God, guys, we let Zuko off lead today. Now, it was in a secure field, or a fairly secure field. I'm very paranoid about this because I know Zuko could have jumped one of the fences if he really wanted to. But it's basically there's a field near ours and you don't have to pay to use it. Like anyone can go in and use it. And a lot of people take their dogs there like once they finish work. Like if I walk Zuko like 5-6 p.m, it's just full of people with their dogs and all their dogs are off lead running around together. Like it's a massive field that's enclosed. And yeah, it's literally just let dogs off lead and play with each other for free. But I've always said to my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm not letting him off lead. Like huskies have very high like hunting instincts, like, and Zuko's are definitely kicking in. Like we can see his prey drive kicking in and everything. Like whenever he hears the smallest noise in the bushes or something, like he is on it. And basically the thing is with huskies, no matter how good their recall is, because their prey drive and their natural instinct is so strong, if he smelt a deer or a sheep or something in the distance, he would bolt and he would go after it. And no matter how good that recall is, they would still do it. Like it's just a thing with huskies. Like, and yes, obviously you can train them and get their recall as good as possible, but their instincts are still going to potentially take over. And it's a very common thing. Like I'm in this like husky group on Facebook. My mum made me join. And I don't really pay attention to it a lot of the time, but literally every single day near enough, there's someone in there being like, oh, I let my husky off lead and he didn't come back for like 2 hours. We were really worried we're never going to see him again. And it's like, yes, because their instincts kick in. So basically, I am. Bear in mind, Zuko also has like 0 recall right now. I am paranoid about letting him off lead. And I say paranoid, it's very justified. And like, I was talking to a family member about it who's actually like a farming background kind of person. And she said ages ago, like she was explaining to one of their other family members, like on behalf of me kind of thing, like she was just talking about Zuko, and she was saying, you know, you can't let that breed off lead, because what if he does smell like some farm animals and he runs after them, the farmer could then shoot him. Like they'd be well within their right to shoot him and things like that. So it's not even just about him getting off and like disappearing for a while, like it's actually like for his safety, obviously. And also there's a lot of cars and stuff around where we live, so not worth the risk. Anyway, we were in this field and there was no one around and it was like completely dead. So my boyfriend and I were like running backwards and forwards with Zuko, and Zuko would just like bolt to one of us, bolt to the other. And so when he was running directly at me with my boyfriend holding the lead, I was like, right, you can let go because he's running at me. And to be fair, he ran like, he bolts, he does what he does in the car, like he bolts at us and then last second he swerves to like get us to chase him. And he just basically was running backwards and forwards between us. But it was really funny because the first time, like I caught his lead on like the second try of him bolting at me. But then we did it again after I'd like gone around and looked at the fences a little bit closer, just to like set my nerves at ease. And we did it again, but this time the plan was for him to run at my boyfriend. So I had the lead and I ran off with Zuko, and then my boyfriend like started calling him, and he bolted at my boyfriend, ran straight past him, darted back at me. I was like this close to his lead, and then he just kept running, and I felt myself panicking, even though he was literally running towards like the highest side of the fence, like it was fine. I just felt myself panicking, because I was like, the thing is with Zuko as well, is he will just keep running and running and running and running, and to get him back, even in a secure field, is impossible. But thankfully, not so thankfully, I twisted my ankle, because this field is full of little holes in the floor. So when I was like jokingly trying to chase and get him to run after me, I'd properly twisted my ankle and like nearly fell down and was like in quite a lot of pain. Like I had to sit down, and he was so concerned that he like sprinted back over to me to check I was okay. So the good news is my dog does care about me. But it was really fun being able to do that, and we're definitely going to look at some actual secure fields near us soon and just take him for like a proper runabout, and maybe get some family to come too, so that like we can just all play with him. But yeah, it was fun. It was scary. I mean, that field especially, because people can just let themselves in and out, like it's not locked or padlocked or anything. There is like a secure gate, but obviously if Zuko's running towards the gate and someone doesn't realise, then he could get out. And yeah, I'm obviously just gonna panic because he is my baby. Anyway, that just came to my mind. It was fun though. And I'm glad he got to, like it was really fun for him. I'm not letting him off lead. It's just too paranoid. Like I'm too paranoid about it. And obviously with reason. Like if he was the sort of breed that you can train to have really good recall and let them off lead and trust them, then I would absolutely do that. But he's not at all. Like huskies are not supposed to go off lead, and no one can tell me different to that. Anyway, basically I was just gonna say I've had a really busy day, and it was my turn to have a lay-in today, so I didn't get up until 8:30, which was lovely. I think Zuko woke my boyfriend up at just gone 6, so that's also funny. But yeah, so I've literally just non-stop just DIY today. And then we took I think it's about 11 o'clock, we walked Zuko for about 45 minutes, came back, continued, did some meal prep and stuff, cooked some more meats and stuff up to have in the fridge ready to just make food a little bit quicker during the week. And yeah, and now it is gone well, it's probably 6:25. Just got bench to do. It's nothing too heavy today. I was going to train in my singlet because I should be benching in my singlet. Like of all the 3 lifts, benching in the singlet is probably the most important to get used to. But I just couldn't be bothered to put it on, especially because we're going to the gym straight after. I'd rather just be in the clothes I'm going to go in. So yeah, but that's fine. Anyway, basically my shoulder's not been feeling great. That was the other thing that I kind of started talking about and then just gone on a tangent. It's more of a rear delt today, but I feel like yesterday it was more the front of my shoulder, and I can't remember what the pain was yesterday. I know it was just like aggravated from the decorating, so it's not a problem. But yeah, my rear delt today, like my left rear delt doesn't feel great, but it's fine. I knew one thing I have to work on post-comp, and it'll probably be post the July comp, because 7 weeks between isn't tons of time, is being able to actually squat without wrist wraps and stop being lazy with letting the weight sit in my wrists, because that is also a big problem I've got, and I've got into a really bad habit with that. And it just means my bar's not in a good position. Like your weight shouldn't be in your wrist, your weight should be on your back. And my rear delts and everything, like they should be carrying the load, not my wrists, but it's fine. Anyway, since warming up my rear delts before I squat though, I have noticed that it definitely feels a bit more secure and a bit better, but it's just yesterday my shoulder was kind of past the point of help. But again, it's not injured, it was just niggly. But I'm intrigued to see how it feels for bench today, because I know it didn't feel great for bench yesterday. But today we're just working up to a 105 single, and then I've got back off 3s at 97 maybe, I'm not really sure. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I probably won't recap the session because well, unless anything goes terribly wrong, I probably won't bother recapping the session. I am also probably just gonna be uploading 1 video a week, so I need to just stop talking and just get my videos up. So gonna stop talking, nothing else to report on. Body weight this morning, 86.0. I don't even know if I finished that tangent either, or that before I went on a tangent. See. But yeah, I'll let you guys know in the next video what the plan is for food, because 2 weeks out, still a little bit heavier than I should be, but kind of on track for where I need to be.